Gardening strengthens the mind as well as the body. And I am out here in my garden to have a little chit chat with you about what it's done for me and how it can help you as well. Welcome, I'm Sheri Traxler with ViREO Life, author of Go Forward, 28 Days to Eat, Move, and Enjoy Life God's Way. I had originally planned on talking about 3 ways that it helps my mind, but when I got out here, I realized there's actually a 4th. The first way is the obvious one, and that is it's going to decrease stress. I finish my day, and it's that time to be able to weed, to get out in the sunshine, just to decompress and let the mind rest. So if you are looking for something to decompress, to relax, I encourage you, get a little plot. It doesn't have to be a big medicinal herb garden. It doesn't have to be a big vegetable garden. It can just be a little 4x4 plot that you're going to plant a tomato plant and a basil plant in and enjoy that. So I really encourage you to consider gardening if you have not already done so. Second reason that it helps my mind is it helps me to get a sense of life lessons, because you really learn a lot about life in the garden. And not just how bugs function and things like that, but your own lessons. For me, one of the biggest is weeds. If you think about the things in your life that you don't enjoy, that they're not working the way that you want them to, I consider those weeds. And if you don't take care of them now, I promise you they will be worse later. And we have discovered that. I'm sitting here in a patch of clover, which is intentional. That's not a weed to us. But there's also a lot of weeds that I don't know what they are. And so we're weeding those a lot. And the more we let those get out of hand, the faster that they spread and the harder it is to keep up with them. So if there's something in my life that I need to say, Sheri, you need to deal with this. If I don't deal with it, it's going to be worse later. If you don't deal with it, whatever it is in your life, it's going to be worse later. It's a weed. And you also have to dig it up from the root, because if you don't dig it up from the root, it's just going to keep coming up over and over and over again. And you have to replace it with something, because all of this area that you see, we had initially, crazy us, because we didn't know any better, thought, well, we'll just keep all that mulched until we plant some trees and things back there. No, not a good idea, because you end up with bare ground attracting every kind of weed seed out there. However, by planting the clover last year, we don't have hardly, well, we have weeds, but it's not as bad. And once we get these out and uprooted over the next year or so, we'll just have clover. And that's going to be a blanket that's going to keep the weeds out. So it will grow faster than you think, and spread further than you think, and take more time than you think. And you need to get them up from the root, and whatever it is, replace it with something positive in your life. Another big lesson, actually, I'm going to tell you the one that I learned when I came out here, and then save the one I had originally planned as number 3. I'll put as number 4. So the third big lesson that is good for my mind is getting to know my neighbors. Well, here's why that came up. I came out to film some videos in the garden, and my neighbors are having a party on their deck, and they have some friends over with a newborn and who's crying, and they also have a dog that's been barking, and a neighbor behind us that we really love. They have 3 little dogs that were barking. So all of this noise, and I thought, oh, it's going to distract, and then I realized, no, that's just part of gardening, is your neighbors are out as well, and it gives you a chance to know them. And interaction with people is so good for the mind and for brain health even. Now, the third one, the third lesson of why it helps my mind is dream big and do not let go of your dreams. Not shared this before with you all, and actually I think only 1 or 2 people know this. When my husband and I began putting the garden in, the initial, not this garden, not the medicinal herb garden, but our vegetable garden, it was a few months into it, and I said, honey, I just realized when I was in my early 20s, I had a dream, not a nighttime dream, but a daydream of not being in the little condo and apartment I was in at the time, but having a home that had enough, even in a subdivision, but that had enough land to have a small garden. And we were putting it in, and it had it in before I realized I had given up on that dream. But God hadn't given up on that dream. He still found a way for me to have the garden. And it's fun to work in the weeds now. The first few years it wasn't, but I have learned to love weeding actually because it does calm my mind so much. So don't give up on your dreams. Let's review these. Number 1 is take care of the weeds or they will be worse. Number 2 is calm your mind. Actually, that's the opposite of how I gave them to you, but you still get them. Third is you're getting people interaction even in the garden because you get to know your neighbors. And number 4 is don't give up on your dreams. Dream big and keep those dreams. Thanks so much for watching. Remember to subscribe and click the notification bell so you can be the first to receive new videos. If you garden, let me know in the comments how it benefits you. And if you don't garden, put in the comments what is something you think you may experiment with, even if it is just a pot with a basil plant. Oh, and I hope you heard that. That's one of the kids. Oh, that's just perfect timing. I hope that you heard. If not, well, one of the kids just laughed and all that. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Remember to subscribe so you can be the first to receive the videos. And until next time, find your path and fulfill your potential.